Welcome everybody. Hi, this is Jorianne the Coffee Psychic with our show Exploring Alternate Realities. I was invited today to share with you guys a little bit about the psychic world, the origins of it, the many different things that we use in the paranormal world. So I think the first question to ask, and probably many of you are asking this yourself, what are psychic abilities and where do they come from? So we have, as you all know, we have our normal five senses. That's tasting, touching, hearing, smelling, and seeing. So, you know, everyone's used to using these five senses with their, you know, that's what came along with your physical body when you were born. And then there's always been something else for many people. And I'm just going to take my bracelet off here because it's making a little noise. The six sensibilities come in many different ways. People have, they have feelings. They have, you know, some people have visions like I do. And mine actually came after I'd gotten a head injury at the age of about 7 years old. So, you know, a lot of people can see things out of the corner of their eye. That's called clairvoyance. Clairaudience is where you're hearing things. And you know it's not in the real world here, okay? This is just where, you know, maybe you're walking down the street. This has happened to me, by the way. And I'll probably reference a lot of things that have happened to me because experience is your best teacher. That's what I can tell you. Walking down the street one day, and I'm hearing somebody call my name, Jory. And it sounded loud enough, but almost like a loud whisper. And it was so loud, and it took me aback that I literally had to walk around to see if somebody was hiding behind some bushes. And of course, no one was there. So, you know, we're going to discuss a lot of this right now on today's show. And maybe you can relate to this. And if you can, this might be something where you may want to start exploring some of the ways in which you can enhance your psychic abilities, develop them to a higher level. Now, does that mean you're going to want to become a professional psychic? It could be. It could be one of those things where for years and years and years, your friends have been coming to you for answers, and you just suddenly know them. How you know them, you don't know. But you know, that would be one of the ways in which we'd say that, yeah, you're already like a psychic, okay? You're using your intuitive abilities. You just know things. So let's go through this here, and I'm going to do a little reading here. So this is, what's your sixth sense? The sixth sense in British, it's a noun, any supposed sense or means of perception, such as intuition or clairvoyance, other than the five senses of sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. And this is from the Collins English Dictionary. So I'm going to go over some of these with you. And I'm going to read some of these because I think you're all going to be so astounded at how much is out there that we just don't even know. So clairsentience is the ability to acquire psychic knowledge just by feeling. You know, have you had a sense of something? Did you know that was going to happen? You know, knowing, a sense, a feeling. Have you actually felt somebody touch you? Let's say you've had somebody pass away and you just know that you can feel their presence around you. You might feel somebody stroking your hair. You might feel them having their hand on your arm, you know, when you're crying, being consoled. So that's a sense of clairsentience. Now, clairvoyance is the ability, as I said before, to perceive persons, objects, locations, and physical events through extrasensory perception. Are you seeing things out of the corner of your eye? You go to look, and nothing's there. What I want to remind you about is the fact that you were born into this physical body. You've been in this physical body so many years. Your eyes are trained to see physical matter. So when you see something out of the corner of your eye, because there's some movement going on, you go to look, and nothing's there. Yes, something is there. It's in the energetic field, in the astral plane, so to speak. Your eyes, when it switches over here, are so used to focusing on physical matter that you're kind of looking through the air and you go like, oh, I didn't see anything. And yet you can still tell something's there. Now, some people get really good at it. I'm just very good at it now. I've been doing this work for over 30 years, so when I see something out of the corner of my eye, I go to look. Many times I'll see a spirit standing there. Another example of clairvoyance is when one of my friends was visiting me. She walked in the house before me. I had looked underneath her car because my eyes were drawn there. And there was radiator fluid all over my driveway. And I was going like, oh man, is Patty going to be mad? And then I looked down again and my driveway was dry. So I knew what that was. And I went in and I told my friend, I said, Patty, you need to go to the car mechanic right away and have him check out your radiator because I saw radiator spilled underneath your car. So of course she did. And the mechanic, his eyes were wide open. He said, how did you possibly know that? And she said, what do you mean? And he said, the radiator hose there's a huge bubble and it's getting ready to burst. Okay, so that's a case of clairvoyance where I literally saw something and then we knew that was going to happen. Okay? And again, many of you guys are probably having a lot of these experiences, and you just want to, when I teach the psychic development classes, I like people to leave knowing, are you clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient? There's the olfactory, the tasting things. So clairaudience is the ability to perceive information by way of extrasensory hearing. So we went through that. Okay. Now, this is a list of alleged psychic abilities. I want to read these things to you so you guys can know how many things are out there. It's crazy. And this list is from Wikipedia, so you can actually look this up. Okay, this is notable psychic abilities. Apportation, the ability to undergo materialization, disappearance or teleportation of an object. Now, do I know about this one? I do. They have many times where spirits are trying to contact living people, and it's called an apport. They will actually have something manifest in physical reality, and then many times it'll disappear. But many times it'll come in and it'll stay, and it really wasn't there before. So astral projection or mental projection. This is the ability to voluntarily project the astral body, which is your spiritual body, which resides in the physical body, okay? In which the astral body becomes separate from the physical body. So there's a place called the Monroe Institute. I have spoken of it before. At the Monroe Institute, it's out in Faber, Virginia. They have classes where they will help you astral project. One of the things I think I would like you guys to explore is, have you had any flying dreams where you're literally out there, and even if you're daydreaming and you suddenly feel like you're in a different location, or when you wake up in the morning you feel like you jolt back in your body and you wake up like a little stunned or something, you probably have been out astral projecting, and many times you can bring many of your memories with you. One experience I had was a very early experience, was when I was doing a healing on my boyfriend's stomach. I'm also a Reiki healer. And suddenly I had projected out to the Grand Canyon, which I had never seen in this lifetime. So I was in such a state of awe as I was looking at all of this red canyon. It was so beautiful. And my boyfriend suddenly said, hey, where did you go? So he knew I went somewhere. And I came back and I said, the Grand Canyon. Now, I've been to the Grand Canyon at least 2 or 3 times since, but it's just as beautiful when you are astral projecting there. So again, if you guys are having flying dreams, if you feel like you've gone somewhere, another example was my sister, Carol. she didn't remember this, but one night when I was sleeping, I suddenly felt myself with my consciousness next to hers, and we were flying through the air. And she said to me telepathically, I want to show you my new home. So she went and she said, here's my house. It was in Bridgeport. It was a green 2-story house. You know, in Chicago, we have our sidewalks at a certain level. Then you have steps going down many times, and that's where the house is built, you know, below street level. So she showed me all of these things, and I didn't call her the next morning, but I called her the day later, and I said, do you remember showing, you know, dreaming of me the other night? And she said, no. I said, are you moving? And she goes, yes. I said, are you moving to Bridgeport? She says, yes. I said, is it a green 2-story house? She said, yes. So I kept asking her questions, and the fact is, we were together. She doesn't remember. I did. So if you guys are having experiences like this, that's also astral projecting. You know, if I can share anything with you guys today, I don't want you to feel crazy. I don't want you to, you know, this is very normal when we have our 6 sensibilities that are starting to evolve and open up for us, okay? All right, let's see what else we have. We have aura reading. Now the aura, again, is the energy field that is protruding from your body, that people can look at you and they can either see colors. When you get angry, your aura, you know, pulls in. When you're at a state of peace and calmness, your aura is way out, away from your body. It's just beautiful. We do aura cleansings. You know, there's... the energy field is going to show many times where you're at mentally, okay? Then you've got automatic handwriting. Now, automatic handwriting, it says the ability to write without conscious choice. However, you know, it's without conscious choice, but there's so much more to this automatic writing. Many times it's when you're in touch with the spiritual world and you're writing information for them. I've got so many great stories. I won't tell you this one. It's probably way too detailed. But I've had that experience where I had an automatic writer come to my house. My daughters were having some spirit contact with one of the girlfriends that had died. Oh my God, the stuff that was coming through was amazing. Okay, we did the clairaudience, claircognizance, the ability to acquire psychic knowledge by means of intrinsic knowledge. And this is called clairgustance, the ability to perceive an ethereal substance without contact. Okay, clairsentience, we did that. Clairvoyance, we did that. Conjuration, the ability to summon items from thin air. You know, that kind of sounds like the airports, doesn't it? Okay, divination, the ability to gain insight into a situation by way of occult, standardized process. You know, I think, and I brought a lot of tools today to share with you so you guys can see all the different tools that people use in the psychic field. And I think that's considered the standardized process. There are so many, you know, like me, I'm called the coffee psychic. So I used to drink 30 to 40 cups of coffee a day. That's literally how I became the coffee psychic. I was shown once by my sister-in-law's cousin. Here it is. That's, you know, coffee and tea. So we've got coffee and tea. And I was shown once where we put the cream in, and it shows you images. And I see letters, numbers, body parts, faces, everything. And because I used to drink 30 to 40 cups of coffee a day, and the images were just appearing, it just became second nature for me. I had a playground, and I started playing. Then the tea leaf reading, many people do that as well. And you could see in that picture where they've got images. They pour the tea leaves in there, and even the coffee grounds. When the liquid is poured off, it leaves images, and the reader will interpret the images that they see. And I'm telling you guys, I mean, who knows how or why? It just happens. It works. You guys know. You guys know, the ones that are really playing with your paranormal, your psychic field and stuff. Okay, dowsing. Now, my dowsing rod, I never leave home without it. It's actually in my purse. And this is the ability to locate water, sometimes using a tool called a dowsing rod. Well, they have tree branches. Anyone that's a good dowser can be in the forest. They can pick up a branch. It normally has a Y to it, and they're going to place it to the ground, and that's how they're going to start locating where the water is in the ground. That's how many people find wells. Mine is a copper rod. It looks like an L. I'm sorry, I don't have it on the table to show you. And this is how I measure people's auric fields around their body. And that's how I can tell what chakra is closed off on your body. And then as a healer, we go to work at clearing off your chakras. And again, you guys can do this too. We're all psychic, we're all intuitive, we're all born with a gift. A lot of people just don't know that. And then if they have some little things or if they were taught to be afraid of it, then they push it away. So everyone can do this. You know, please, there are classes all over the place. You want to go ahead and join a class and start learning how to work your energy. All right, so we've got energy manipulation or energy work. We were just talking about that. The ability to manipulate physical and non-physical energy. This says in Wikipedia, with one's mind. You know, I'm not sure if I want to say with one's mind. I mean, yes, you know, I think so. There's a meditation that I've done where I can make things literally disappear on the table and reappear in front of you, okay? So that could be the energy manipulation they're talking about also. But when they say energy work, that's more of a Reiki healing kind of thing, or faith healing, hands-on healing. I'm sure you guys have watched a lot of the ministry shows where people, you know, are healed. This is energy work, okay, healing work, and where people fall back and somebody catches them in their arms. That's also energy work. Okay. Now this one, I've never done this one. I've done a lot. Hydrokinesis. That's the ability to manipulate water. Excuse me, so I haven't done that. There's also levitation, and that's the ability to undergo bodily uplift or fly by mystical means. There's a lot of monks that have studied levitation, and they literally, and they do have videos on this. You guys would have to check YouTube. But some of these monks, you'll see them lifting up and popping over, lifting up and popping over. They're literally, they're not jumping, they're levitating. And there are many stories in history where they have people that are levitating and flying with their physical bodies, actually in and out of windows and stuff. So it's pretty cool. Okay, precognition or premonition, the ability to perceive future events. That's a lot of what I do in my work, is I get information that's past, present, and future. And the mediumship or channeling is the ability to communicate with spirits. Again, many of you guys probably do this already, even if it's in your thoughts or, you know, people say they've had dreams of their dead relatives. And they're asking, is this, you know, are they okay? Or they said this and that. And, you know, again, when you're dreaming of somebody that's crossed over, that's died, yes, that is them coming to visit you in your dreams. Now, the difference between dream interpretation is sometimes if you're having a dream where you've got this scary stuff happening, many times a dream is going to be where if you couldn't work this issue out during the day, then you're going to work it out at night in your dreams. But that's just a regular dream. You know, and you're dreaming you're in a house, you know, your basement is your unconscious mind, your first floor is your conscious mind, and your second floor is your superconscious mind. So where you're at in the house will tell you what part of your mind you're working with. And then if a person is there, now it could be somebody that's really coming to visit you, but let's say that you've got a person and this person is, let's say, God forbid, knock on wood, taking your purse, and you're chasing them to find your purse. Well, first off, you want to look at your money issues that, you know, that week, what's going on, and who is that person? Do you recognize them or don't you? And what does that person mean to you? Like, is it your mom? Is it a child? Things like that. So you're going to start interpreting your dreams that way. Also, and again, remember, this is happening in your unconscious mind while you are asleep. You have spirit visitation. That's when you astral project. You've got past life recall. There are so many things that happen while you're asleep. So know that that's also, even if you can't deal with some of the psychic stuff while you're in your waking state, you will deal with it when you're asleep if it's stuff that's supposed to be coming to you. All right, let's see what else we have here. So much on this list, you guys, it's crazy. Prophecy, the ability to predict what will happen in the future. You've got a lot of the many churches that have prophecy where people will start interpreting the Lord's word and when they're speaking in tongues. And then what I heard was somebody has to be there to interpret it as well. So then you've got the interpreter of that. So that is prophecy as well. Psychic surgery. Now, I don't remember, but I was pretty sure I did a show with talking about John of God, who I had seen last year, and that was quite a blessing. Psychic surgery is the ability to remove disease or disorder within or over the body tissue via an energetic incision that heals immediately afterwards. That completely is what John of God does. He's an amazing healer. He's been around for, I can't tell you how many years. So if you want to look him up and learn about psychic surgeries, psychic healing that way, look up John of God. Okay, psychokinesis, the ability to manipulate objects by way of extrasensory perception. Psychometry, the ability to obtain information about a person or object, usually by touch. You'll see some psychics that'll say, please come in and please bring me an object. They hold the object in their hand and then they start perceiving information. Remote viewing, now that's another one. That's another thing that the Monroe Institute also teaches classes on. So remote viewing or remote sensing, the ability to see at a distance, an unseen target using extrasensory perception. When I've studied remote viewing, the thing that I find, and I think there's just two trains of thought here. Our government had a program called Blue Book, and they eventually closed it down. It was a remote viewing program. The Russians also had a program also, and there's a book that I got years ago called Psychic Discoveries Behind the Iron Curtain. So that was probably one of my first books on remote viewing. And I personally believe that because we astral project all the time, I believe that the consciousness leaves the body, goes to a target location, accesses information, and comes back to your body with information. Now again, like I said, if we're doing it in our sleep, you might not have the total recall. If you're doing it intentionally and you're practicing certain protocol, because that's what the government teaches, or that's what some of these classes are taught with protocol, they say that anybody can do it. You don't have to be psychic. So because I've been doing this work for over 30 years, I still kind of hold my belief or my experience of it is pretty much the same as astral projecting. So I'm just going to say that's just where I'm at on that matter. Okay. Retrocognition. Now I want you guys to know that all of these experiences have names. It's just going to be really much more easier for you to identify what you're experiencing by using certain definitions. Not everyone knows the definitions, but these definitions are tried and true, okay? So retrocognition or postcognition is the ability to perceive the past events. So again, my work, I just always let spirit lead me, and I get past, present, and future information. Now, if I get past information, you should know about it already, but not everyone does. They research it, then they find out. So that's kind of cool. But past, present, and future. So that's the term for perceiving the past is retrocognition. Then you've got second sight, the ability to see future and past events or to perceive information that's not present to the senses in the form of a vision. Okay, so that's pretty much, as far as I'm concerned, the same as seeing the past, present, and future. Scrying, the ability to look into a suitable medium. Now, I know we have a picture up here of a crystal ball. Bill, do we have the next picture? And I just might go through some of these pictures, you guys, and share some of the things that I have brought to today's show. Now, there's our crystal ball. So this is very similar to me as when I read the coffee. The art of scrying is gazing into a flat surface or a surface such as a crystal ball. As you gaze into this, you are going to be seeing images, pictures will start forming in your mind. And that is, again, to look into a suitable medium with a view to detect significant information. All right. So, and this is like a playground, you guys, right? By the time I'm done giving you all these definitions, you're going to know exactly what you're going to want to do when you start developing your psychic abilities. Another one is telepathy. And this is the ability to transfer thoughts mentally through extrasensory perception. So if you have heard of the ARE, the Association for Research and Enlightenment, that's out in Virginia Beach, Virginia, Edgar Cayce was called the Sleeping Prophet. And he ended up having, oh my goodness, I mean, he studied the Bible once a year. Every year he read the entire Bible. When he was younger, he met a girl who turned out to end up later on becoming his wife. And she told him, he was visiting her house one day, she told him to go to sleep, because he was tired before he left. Well, he fell asleep on the couch, never woke up until the next morning, which was, back in those days, you just didn't do that. So they figured out that he responded to what she told him. And he also had a head injury as well. So he was hearing the spirits, and part of his story is that he ended up getting sick, and because he was hearing the spirits tell him what other people needed to do for healing, he asked, what should I do? I'm sick. And they told him, and of course he got healed. And he has been, I think he died in the 1940s. He's one of the most accurate, widely known psychics of our time. So, speaking about telepathy, I remember one of the stories that was told about him. He was walking down the hallway or something, and somebody thought something to him, and he turned around and said, no, that's not true, or something else. So he was immediately able to communicate through telepathic means, and the person was stunned, but the person knew that that's what they were saying and thinking. He also one time had been getting ready to approach an elevator to get on it. When the elevator doors opened, he saw that no one's auras were showing. And so he chose not to get on that elevator, in which the elevator then proceeded to crash and everyone died. Now that's an interesting story. So, sometimes we ask, why would we want to develop our psychic abilities? I mean, what's the purpose, right? So, I would say one of the sayings I use is, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So if there's something that that you think might be beneficial for you to know ahead of time, then you'd want to develop your psychic abilities. For me, when I was growing up, I wanted to be a nun, so my spirituality is very important to me. And I also studied to be a therapist, so my plan was to help people. And it just seemed like all of these things just came together and fell in place for me, with my head injury, me seeing things, my spiritual stuff, my wanting to help people. That's how it all came together for me. Now, that's my story, and your story is different. You may have all different pieces coming together for you also, and then that's how you'll end up going ahead and deciding, do you want to look at tarot cards? Do you want to look at, what do you want to do? But because it's your sixth sensibilities and you're born with it, and it's something that, even with our spirit guides and angels, and many of you guys talk to your spirit guides and angels all the time. You talk to your dead relatives. I know you do. Many people tell me all the time. So what's the difference if you have a dead relative coming to you and giving you information? I had in one of my classes, I had a student that was with me for over a year, and he was a police officer that left the police force. And during one of my readings to him, I had said, "Oh my God, you're going to be so psychic, it's not funny." And of course, it's kind of interesting. I also saw his dead grandmother coming in and helping him with all of his psychic work. So it was, he came to the classes all the time. He took other classes. I tell people, please, please take any sort of psychic development class, any kind of meditation class, anything that'll help you calm your mind, clear your mind screen that's going on in your mind, clear your mind screen, and then start trusting that whatever you're seeing or hearing or feeling is accurate. Even though it might not be manifesting right now, the thing you have to learn is discernment about what's going on in your own life, and versus you having a psychic impression. Like you might be having something going on and suddenly something totally different just rushes through your mind. And you go like, oh my God, what was that? That's not what's going on here. But what rushes through your mind is what really is going to happen. Or that's the information you need. So this police officer, when he was working with me, he ended up coming back saying, Jorianne, you're not going to believe it, but I'm totally opening up. My grandmother is coming to me all the time. She's speaking with me, and she's telling me all of this information. Well, the information was accurate information. And then not only that, he ended up starting to see, oh my God, terrorist attacks out in different countries with accurate information, with the numbers on the airplanes, everything, highly accurate. So a lot like the remote viewing that people are taught over at the Monroe Institute. So he was able to call up the government officials because, again, here he is. He's been a law enforcement officer his entire life. And so he has a little more credibility with calling up a government and saying, look, this is what I saw. This is the work I'm doing now. And I'm not sure what the end result was after he was sharing this information with them. But I believe it was very accurate information with what he was telling me. So funny story for this gentleman, wonderful man. He ended up telling me that when he'd be in a crime scene, he would just walk over and he would literally see where the gun was at. And so he would pick up the gun and he'd give it into evidence. You know, they were like, how'd you know it was there? And he goes, I don't know. I just had a feeling. So that was cool. So here's, again, the list of psychic abilities. This is from Wikipedia, so you can get online. You can check this out. So this is a list of alleged, everyone, got to protect yourself with that, psychic abilities that have been attributed to real-world people. Many of these abilities are also known as extrasensory perception or the sixth sense. Superhuman abilities from fiction are not included, so that's kind of good. We're not talking about Superman here, okay? All right, so apparitional experiences, astral projection, we talked about that. The aura, we talked about that. Bilocation, they've got a lot of movies, several movies out about bilocation. Clairvoyance, deathbed phenomenon. Deathbed phenomenon, I remember a nurse telling me where she had a patient that died. And in the emergency room, they're sitting here, now you've got the family in the waiting room, and they come out and say, we're really sorry, your wife died. And then they come back in, and one of the nurses was describing how she saw the spirit of the body lift out of her body, and the machine said she died, and she shot back down at her body. And then the machines went on, she was alive again. This happened several times. I believe, no, I'm not sure, but I believe she eventually crossed over. But it was amazing how the machines were registering that she had died, and then she came back to life, and then she died and she came back to life. So here's an interesting little bit of information. When I was studying psychology years ago, there were so many things that we covered. And one of the things we covered was that our body actually loses weight upon death. And that sounds a little strange, doesn't it? So they've literally had, and there's a lot of scientific studies that are going on all around the country, you guys, honestly, on all of this phenomenon. So they've had people hooked up on beds that are put on scales. When the person passes away, they actually lose weight by so many ounces. I can't remember how many ounces, but they lose weight. Another situation with like the deathbed stuff, there's one thing on YouTube that I found very interesting. There was a man, he goes, I know that this was probably, sadistic or whatever, so he said, I put a video camera where I was trying to trap a mouse, and I was videotaping it, and the mouse got caught in the mouse trap. So I'm sorry if this is a little sad, but the mouse got trapped in the mouse trap, and then he wiggled around, and then he passed away. Then he died. But at the time of him stopping the wiggling and him dying, you literally see a white mist leaving the little mouse's body and ascending and going up. Okay? So if you go ahead and get online, get on YouTube. I don't know if you put in spirit mouse or not, but you can do that. There's a lot of things on YouTube also that you can literally look at and see with the spirits leaving the body. Okay? All right. So they've got the electronic voice phenomenon. There's so much, you guys, to come in here and really explore and learn about. You've probably had so many things. For the electronic voice phenomenon, I had, what you do is you tape record, and suddenly you hear a voice in the background that comes up that shouldn't be there. I've had that happen for many of my readings. I have probably over 150 EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, which means it's capturing voices from the spirit world. That's where it's coming from. It's coming from the astral plane somehow. I've got one that has a cow that's mooing. I've got, and I wasn't on a farm, by the way. I was in a very, not skyscraper, but a really tall building. Many, floors up. So there shouldn't have been a cow there. And there's a lot of different things that this one woman called me up and she said, Jorianne, I got my husband's voice on my recorder. And I said, well, that's great. She goes, no, he's dead. And I was like, oh my God. So that would be an EVP that she captured on her recording device. A lot of people like going, the paranormal investigations. We've done that for years. You go to a cemetery, you go there for the paranormal investigations. It's a lot of fun around Halloween, but people do it all the time. You bring your tape recorder, you talk to somebody. My suggestion, just like the Ouija board, we've got a picture of the Ouija board here also. I'm going to start showing you guys some of the pictures. I want to get a lot of this stuff in for you today. We'll see what the next one is here. Anyway, even with the Ouija board, if you guys are going to do this, I really want you to practice protection. Only because there are so many things out there that we really want you to make sure that you're always, being safe and stuff just in case. And the Ouija board, I always suggest to people, I'm not a big advocate of it because it's something that, people are doing. They don't give you a set of rules on protecting yourself when you're starting to play with the Ouija board. And, my thought is, because you're working with the spirit world, you want to respect the fact that there's so many different levels on the astral planes. And when people die, not everyone goes to heaven right away. They say old Uncle Harry isn't any smarter dead than he was alive. And if somebody, we're all souls, some people, when they die, they're kind of angry or they're lost or they're confused. And so if somebody's coming in that's angry or something, do you really want to, work with that without protection? Probably not, okay? Let's just say let's not do that because, the other topics are spirit possession, spirit attachment, That's where you get your ghosts, your hauntings, things like that. So much on this, I got to tell you. So let's go ahead. I've got so much more to share with you, but let's go ahead and I'm going to show you some of the things that I brought today, some of the tools. And so Bill, can you put up another one of the pictures and we'll talk about what shows up here. Any of the pictures will be okay. Ruin stones, beautiful. All right, so how do we start accessing information from the spirit world? These are some of our tools. These are ruin stones. Ruin stones are going to give you messages. You get a box of ruin stones. I've got some glass ones. These are made out of stone. You've got people that if you're looking for a job on the side, you guys go grab some stones, get a ruin stone book. Paint on them, learn them. You don't have to go out and buy them. You can make them. You can make them and sell them. What a great idea. But if you take 3 ruin stones, you're asking a question and you get past, present, and future. And just like the tarot cards, these have straight up meanings and they have reversed meanings. Okay? So that's fun to work with. Bill, can we have the next picture? Those were the ruin stones. Oh, wonderful book. Fortune, Foretelling the Future. Okay, this is by Wayne Griffin. So this book has a lot of different bits of information that really covers so many types of psychic tools. It discusses your psychic abilities, things like that. So it's a pretty big book. Good for beginners. It's like a little encyclopedia. So you can grab that book. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Okay, and what's the next picture, please? Oh my God, you guys, one of my favorite books of all time. This book has every single thing in it you could possibly imagine. So to me, this is like a study book, okay, by June G. Bletzer, PhD. Seriously now, I mean, I'm just going to read a little bit out of here. Babbler, backbrain, back in time, backlash. These are different terms. Body time, body flapping, body feelings, body zones, body of glory, body of light, body polarity. We've got electronic voices. We've got electromotive forces, electromagnetic. Oh my God. And these things, this book is look at guys, seriously, it's huge. This is a huge book. So, and I've got other stuff in here. They've got a definition for the devil, diva, detuning, everything. So if you're doing any real serious study, the Donning International Encyclopedic Psychic Dictionary, that really is the one to get. That's going to cover so much. And nowadays there's still more information, there's more stuff. So much is out there. Okay, new definitions are coming up all the time, but get that book. All right, let's see what the next picture is. All right, now, this is one of the oldest books. You can see a lot of my books are well used. Gung Hee Phut Choi. This is, it says Tells Your Fortune. It's by Margaret Ward, and there's a playing board that, yes, is included. And it says on the front, a fortune-telling game which uses regular playing cards, which it does, so you can use your own playing cards, includes lessons in astrology and numerology, and shows you how to find your soul age. I'm not quite sure about the soul age. There's so many different beliefs around your soul age, but that Gung Hee Phut Choi, I know my friend had it years ago, and so we'd read each other, so it was kind of fun. And what was really great is that I've read myself numerous times, and this reading takes you forever. But if you want to learn about reading yourself, get that book, or the Russian Gypsy fortune telling book is also another one. So much fun if you guys want to read each other. Very simple. The pictures are there, the definitions are there. You don't have to be a psychic to read these books, but it's fun for the family. So anyway, with the Gung Hee Fa Choi, I have read myself, just forever. I just love it. And just remember, nothing is 100%. Not everything's going to happen. But you're really training yourself to really tune in, listen to the higher forces, be in touch with your connection with God or the universe, whatever you call God. I call God God. I was raised Catholic. So with the Gung Hee Fa Choi, there were several times where it said, 4 times, beware of danger in the street. And 3 of those times after I got that message, and remember, we're all looking for messages. 3 times after I got that message, I had a car accident each time. So the 4th time, again, I tell people to be forewarned is to be forearmed. So that's, there's so many other reasons why we want to develop our psychic abilities, and so many methods, and so many methods in which we can do that, or just being in touch with God, or just bringing peace to our mind, meditation. But so when I get messages, I don't care where they're coming from, except for, they tell people, when you're starting to develop your psychic abilities, be very, very careful, because there are negative forces that are out there. And I think that's true, but I think you can also learn, again, there's the word discernment that comes in. You can learn how to sense or feel or know what the good energies are and what the bad energies are. So that's why practice makes perfect. There's the saying, a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. And I get that. But I keep saying the only antidote is a lot of knowledge. And that's why you want to practice. That's why you want to study these things. Okay, Bill, do we have another picture there? Okay, so these are called the yin-yang fortune-telling system. But I literally have that upside down, you guys. Too funny. So I'm going to tell you what happened when I got this set of sticks. It comes with a set of sticks, and it comes with a book. So here's the book, okay? It sits within this little, so it's round like that because you have your container. And here are the sticks. So my friend and I got these in Disney, and my friend and I stayed on Disney property. This was in the Epcot Center where they have all the different countries and stuff. So this was in, I think, Japan or the Chinese section. And now it's standing straight up. There you go. Now it's standing straight up. So anyway, when we were sleeping that night, after I'd purchased these, they were on my nightstand, my friend told me that she felt a man's body next to her pushing her off her bed. And so, of course, she just said, it freaked her out a little bit, but she kept pushing back. And he kept pushing her, and she kept pushing back. Now, how do we know it's a he? She sensed that it was a male. So, and when I woke up, I felt the face of somebody right here breathing down on me. Now, that was a little weird. Those were the only 2 experiences that we had. Now, my thought would be, was there a spirit attachment that came along with these yin-yang sticks? That'd be kind of weird if it did. Or could it be that there was a spirit that was on property, and because he knew that we were open to this type of phenomenon, that he could come in and visit with us or mess around with us and give us a little bit of a hard time or something. It really didn't scare me, but it was very noticeable and notable, okay? So when you get something like these yin-yang sticks, you literally sit here and you ask a question. So again, you're in a meditative state, you want an answer, and so you're going to close your eyes, and then you present your question, and then you put your hands, you take the sticks, you twirl them around, and you don't look, and you pull a stick. And so I got the number 2. So I would then go to my book and look, oh, I'm sorry, you take 2 sticks. So the first one is 2. Oh, and you have to put the 2 back in. And then you pull another one, and this time it's 1. So it'd be 2 and 1. So you go to the book for 2 and 1, having asked the question in your mind. So it reads, the combination of lake and sky. The suggestion, this is a time when you will experience bad temper or high emotions. Try not to argue with others or you will get into big trouble. So that's good advice, okay? And that's what a lot of our tools are going to give you, some advice. But especially when you know yourself and you know that this is something that could possibly, look, why are you seeking information from the higher planes? Why would you go see somebody? Why would you meditate and go within? Because there's a little bit of something going on for you. And you need to gather some information, you need to gather some data, okay? Something that your normal ego self is not giving to you, all right? So now the fortune is the goals. Patience is needed here to achieve the goal. So if it's around your goals, that's the question you asked, that's the answer you get. If you have a question on love, the answer is if your efforts toward your lover are too aggressive, they will be unsuccessful. So if somebody asked that question, that would be the answer. If it's a family question, the answer is try to be compassionate. Your overbearing attitude can cause unnecessary arguments. Okay, you get it? So this is a really nice tool. People love the yin-yang sticks, the fortune-telling sticks. I think they're great because when I've worked with them in the past and I've asked my clients, does this make sense for you? They're like, positively, Jorianne. Yes, it does, completely. And it's like, oh, that's perfect. So, all right, so let's see what we have next on the pictures. Bill, what do we have next there? Oh my God, the angel cards. Now, these angel cards are by Doreen Virtue, PhD. Everybody loves working with the angels, and I should say almost everybody. I have these angel cards when I teach my classes. We go ahead and everyone pulls, you have a question, and we pull an angel card. And the angel cards also give us information. So let's take a peek at the angel cards here. What you do as well is you're going to sit here and you're going to shuffle your cards, okay? Always asking a question, okay? When you want to ask your questions, you truly want to. I'm trying to share a lot of knowledge with you guys right now, a lot of information. When you want to get information from the spirit world, you're going to go ahead and you're going to clear your mind. You're going to meditate. One of the ways you want to do this is you want to take a couple of deep breaths, get all the noise out of your head, go into a little bit of meditation and ask your question. Ask the question. You can say it out loud. You can just think it, and the spirits will hear you. Okay. So again, we're looking for information. You're shuffling the cards. We are shuffling these cards, right? Shuffle, shuffle. Then what you do, depending upon what you hear, many people will take one card, that would be the top card. I many times will hear in my head, take 2. So the first card is to write. Now, just to let you know, I'm in the process of writing my books. How perfect can that be? Now you guys saw me shuffling the cards, right? So the first one is write. And then Lakshmi is one of the Hindu goddesses, and this says flow of prosperity. So let's say if you're in a position where you're asking about a job, you're asking about a new endeavor, like for me with my writing. This tells me right here that by getting my books written, then there will be more of a flow of prosperity around me, okay? So, and then of course, these cards come with a book, just like with the tarot cards, and Ascended Masters Oracle Cards Guidebook. Then of course, you're going to go to the page that the card is on, and it gives you a much more in-depth information for you. Very, very nice. Okay, so Bill, can we see, is there another, I brought so much, I don't remember if we have another thing there. Ah, there we go, the Sacred Path cards. How beautiful is that? So the Sacred Path cards, these are, it says, the discovery of self through native teachings. So this is by James Sams and illustrations by Linda Childers. You've got the cards, you've got the book. This says the 44 beautifully illustrated cards, each endowed with a particular meaning and message. You know, we're on a path, you guys. We're on a path to self-discovery. We're on a path to spiritual evolution. And, you know, when people say, really, why should we, why would we want to do this? It's really a gift to yourself. This is something where, you know, we come into the world. The earth is known as the school, the classroom. And we're all highly evolved spiritual beings that are still on a path of spiritual evolution. So if there were some lessons that we didn't learn in a past life, then when we choose to be reborn, then we're going to come here and we're going to have lessons. And really the lessons are experiences in life, whether it's a love relationship that breaks up. I mean, you know, how many of us have had, all of them, I'm pretty sure, have had broken hearts from time to time. But when you look at the relationship and you ask, what was I supposed to learn from that? Did it make you a stronger person? Did it make you a better person? You know, did it make you bitter and angry? And heads up, folks, I mean, you know, what you die with is where you kind of come back in to learn those lessons. So, you know, if you have the bitter, angry part going on right now, you pretty much want to go ahead and learn the lessons of forgiveness. So no matter what lessons we have down here, you really want to go ahead and embrace yourself with love. If you have to forgive yourself, forgive others. Embrace the world. It's beautiful. It's truly amazing. And there's so much more that the universe has to share with us. I just invite you all to look at all the things that you can do with these gifts and love yourself, okay? And love everyone else. Good night, everybody.